Orphan Black. This is episode 9 of season 3 of Orphan Black, and it is titled Insolvent Phantom of Tomorrow. Let's do it. London. Where do they get their money for all this stuff? Airfare is not cheap.
I'm gonna kill him.
Yes, you will. Virginia, you really need to quit smoking. It's not doing your skin any favors.
Some poisons are pills, all pills.
Maybe I have a brain condition, but like sometimes when they pose these questions, I get confused. I wouldn't know to say true or false. I love Allison's kids so much. Don't teach her to poke eyes out. Okay, if they like smuggled out kids that needed to be hidden, what is Felix's story? Donnie, you're not looking hot, bro. Cosima, are you just living with Shay now? Don't take her babies.
Looks important. I'll keep it.
Don't take the babies! Donnie, you just screw everything up.
This is the band.
The band. Oh, shoot.
Terrence.
Ferdinand, get out of here. No, don't kill him. He was nice. They just needed to write in an excuse for her to sing a song. Ew, his teeth are coming out. Gotta be honest, her friend is a fighter. That dude's swinging an electrical cord? Nah.
It's from Terrence.
Maybe you should have stuck to the mission and not sung a song, S. Your friend's getting beat up. Helena, I love you. Now that'd be a fun costume to do. Gracie, are you running away? Helena's like, somebody hurt my Donnie.
Now you believe your girlfriend is a mold for Castor.
Told you so.
What are you not telling me?
A lot.
Gotta return the pills and get all our money back. And they took this tank thing from under the counter.
Oh, they took the tank thingy? Helena's gonna go on the war path.
Where are they? I will find them.
No, let her go, Donnie.
Helena, these are bad people.
This is Helena. The best kind of new path is killing people for your children.
It's a dad decision for the family. And you're a part of it now.
Aww.
Oh, shit. Terry.
Aw, Terry. Oh, you're alive. Good. Woo. Your eye is like swollen grossly. Don't whisper in her ear. Tell the audience. He did his dying breath to not tell the audience what happened. Sarah, listen to your mom.
In the square. In an hour. We'll send someone.
Sarah, you're an idiot. Listen to your mom. Y'all are stupid.
Senor Putinho.
Shut up, Donnie. Oh, Helena. Just stuff all that hair under that fuzzy hat. Helena's gonna kill you guys.
We know where Oscar and Gemma go to school.
Now Helena's really gonna kill you. Shouldn't have said that.
Did you threaten babies?
She's gonna kill all of you.
You should not threaten babies. Sit down.
Delphine's gonna rough you up. Are you bullying Shay for her shoes?
Gracie is at the doctor's, I think, and,
Helena took care of business! I love Helena's, like, wah, wah, theme song. Oh, that is so awesome.
Helena, what did you do?
I got refund.
Yes! Helena covered in blood is, like, the best thing ever.
It's none of your concern how I pay for things.
Hooker. She's gonna cut you up. Razor blade style? That is ghetto. To be fair, though, like, if someone threatened my nieces, I'd kill everyone in the room. Delphine, if you really stage a suicide of Shay, I don't know if I can forgive you for that. She's Kinsey from Lost Girl.
Please tell everyone that I'm really sorry.
Gracie, what are you gonna do?
They told me that I could help save Mark.
You freaking spy! I hate you, Gracie! Oh, I'm gonna kill this girl.
Sorry.
Oh, unforgivable, Gracie Johansson. You need to call up Delphine and be like, please don't kill Shay. Total false alarm. And Delphine just showed her hand for no reason.
You really gonna go in and kill an innocent old man?
Maybe. I hate you, Ferdinand. He's gonna be dead in the front seat. Yes, he's dead in the front seat. You piano wire that guy? This is a setup, Sarah. Get out. Oh, who's outside? So behind you! Look behind you! Oh, you gonna get stabbed!
I'm looking for Kendall Malone.
Well, you got me.
You're a lady?
Siobhan.
Is that your mummy?
Hello, mother.
Ah!
This is the prisoner we're after. Your mum, yeah? She is. Sent down for killing my child.
John Sadler was a drunk and a piney.
What? Your mommy killed your husband? Ferdinand's gonna show up and kill your mom before she can give you answers. I just know it.
Oh, I know him well. He's me.
I knew it. Sarah's your sister.
Absorbed a male twin in the womb when I was 4.
What? You're a mosaic? How are you texting on an iPhone with gloves on, Felix? Reality, people.
Not just the house that has to go.
What?
It's us. It's just how Sarah Castor has to.
You go kill your mama?
We need her. She's leader.
What? Sarah's your
Why didn't you tell me you're
sister mom? What the F? Okay, the episode opens and Mrs. S and Felix and Sarah are in London and they're gonna go to the pub to meet up with one of Mrs. S's friends. They get there and meet up with her friend Terry, who has a gun for her. Mrs. S gets the gun, she's like, I'm gonna go kill original Castor clone. Virginia and Rudy are in like a hotel room somewhere and they got the book and she's doing that weird eye test thing on Rudy. Rudy's having trouble answering the question, so like his brain's deteriorating and he's like worried about how much longer he has to live. Back at Allison's house, Gemma is practicing karate and Helena's like, here, I'll help you. Do this, punch, and then just gouge the eyes out. Gracie comes in, she's like, Helena, we don't do that. Helena's like, you're right, I'm a mother. Shouldn't teach kids to gouge eyes out. Back in the pub, they're talking and they find out Terry was one of the people that helped, smuggle Sarah and move them around. Mrs. S gives Terry the little, poem-y thing about, London town, Castor clones thing. He looks at the number at the end and he's like, this is a prisoner ID number. She's like, can you find out whose ID that is? And he's like, yeah, I'll go ask some people. Back at Allison's house, Allison's getting everything ready to go campaign some more. She asked Gracie to do some things, and Gracie's like, I got a doctor's appointment I gotta get to. And she's like, okay, well, take the rest of the day off. Donnie wakes up in the shop, and he's all beat up and gross. And he has, an excuse for not coming home that night, and Allison's like, can you go by the shop and do some stuff for me? Casima's over at Shay's, and she's looking through that file of, all the stuff that Delphine gave her on Shay. Shay comes out of the shower, and Casima's all standoffish, and is like, I gotta go. Donnie's trying to, fix all the mess that was made in the shop when he got the crap beat out of him. That henchman for Jason comes up and he's like, hey, we want all the drugs back. Jason's no longer vouching for you, so Pouchy wants it all back, so I'm just gonna go knock everything down to try and find it. Donnie's like, we don't even keep the drugs here. But then the dude finds Helena's babies and he's like, this looks valuable, I'm gonna take it. Casima goes over to Scott's and they're digging through all the files and Scott's like, nothing in here explicitly says she's working for Castor. But then they start realizing that, everything Castor knew was stuff that Shay also knew, so she's having doubts, thinking, oh my gosh, Shay is a freaking spy. Back in the bar, S, Felix, and Sarah are sitting around, and Mrs. S is like, yeah, when my husband was killed, these were all his friends, and they became my family. And then 3 more guys show up, and they were, part of Mrs. S's old band, because apparently the bartender recognized her from old pictures and called them up. They're like, hey, for old time's sake, let's just play a song. And she's like, okay. I mean, it's not like we're on mission to do stuff or anything. Terry gets back to his place, and he's on the phone with Mrs. S, and he's like, hey, I know who that prisoner is, but I'm gonna need you to come over and talk about it. He walks into his place all the way and sees that Ferdinand and one of his, little flunky, I'm gonna beat you up kind of guys is there. Ferdinand's like, hey, you were supposed to call me when Siobhan came back into town. He's like, oh, I was gonna. And then they start beating the crap out of him. Mrs. S is on stage singing, so she didn't get the phone call from Terry, and she doesn't realize when she's on stage singing, they're just beating the crap out of him. Once Mrs. S gets off stage, she sees her missed phone call and she tries to call him back, but he's not answering because he's tied to a chair getting the crap kicked out of him. In Allison's garage, Helena is being adorable and dancing around, singing, holding the spoon thing that she's making soap with. Gracie comes in to be like, I'm going to my doctor's appointment, bye, and Helena's like, see you later. But then Gracie hugs her a forever goodbye hug, and Helena's like, what was that about? Helena goes in the house and finds Donnie digging through the cupboards trying to find band-aids and stuff, and she's like, what happened to your face? And he's like, I walked into a pole. She's like, I'll fix your face, but you gotta be honest with me. Casima goes and sees Delphine, and she's like, hey, I think you're right about Shay being a spy. Plus, to be honest, Sarah's in London trying to find the Castor original. Delphine's like, I'll take care of it. Helena made some weird paste stuff, and she's putting it on Donnie's face, all of his cuts. Donnie kind of tells her what happened, and he's like, yeah, this guy came in and he took this canister that was under the counter. Helena's like, oh, those are my frozen babies. I'm gonna go kill all of them. Donnie's like, okay, we can't go kill them, and you're trying to be good for your future babies. He's like, let me be a dad and protect my family, and you're part of my family now. Sarah, Mrs. S, and Felix get to Terry's place. Terry's all beat up and, tied to a chair and, close to death. While Sarah and Felix are trying to find something to stop the bleeding, Terry leans over to Mrs. S and whispers what the prisoner ID was and who it is. Mrs. S is like, okay, I gotta go do something. You guys go to the bar and just wait for me there. Felix is like, come on, Sarah, we gotta go. But on the way out, Sarah sees Terry's cell phone and takes it with her. Sarah sees that he had 2 calls from a certain number, so she's like, I'm gonna call it and pretend I'm Siobhan. The person on the phone is like, okay, meet me at this place, I'll send someone to go get you. As they're walking to the location, you see that Ferdinand is in the car watching them. The car pulls up and she's like, I'm Siobhan. The guy's like, get in. So Helena and Donnie arrive at Pouchy's place. Donnie's like, just wait in the car. That's not gonna work, it's Helena. But Donnie goes in, he gives him the drugs, and he's like, okay, I need that canister back, and I also would like a refund on the drugs. They're like, well, what's the canister? And he's like, it's frozen embryos for me and Allison. And they're like, your pee-pee doesn't work. Then there's a knock at the door, and they look, and they're like, oh, it's Allison, but it's actually Helena, and she, like, stuck all her hair under this big fuzzy hat that Donnie just happened to have been wearing and left in the car. She comes in, and they're like, Allison, what's up with your voice? And she's like, I have cold. They get the canister back, and then Pouchy's like, I'm not gonna give you a refund, but, you're gonna launder money for me now. They're kind of like, let's just leave, but then Pouchy's niece starts threatening them, and it isn't until she's like, I know where your kids go to school. Helena's like, what did you say? She's like, you do not threaten babies. Then they're at the door, and she, like, hands the canister to Donnie and just pushes him out the door and closes it. Then Delphine arrives at Shay's, and she has, like, a bunch of these, like, bodyguard-looking dudes come with her. She's like, Shay, sit down and take your shoes off, or I'll do it for you. Sarah and Felix are still driving with that dude, and he pulls over and gets him out, and he, like, starts threatening to beat up Felix. And Sarah's like, hey, what's going on? She's like, knock it off. And he's like, I know you're not Siobhan, so who are you? She's like, I'm Sarah. And he's like, Sarah Manning? Apparently he, like, got Sarah and helped move her around a lot. Sarah's like, I need to know who that prisoner ID number belonged to. And he's like, well, here's the thing. They look at it, and it's the name Kendall Malone, and it has, like, a current address, and they're like, take us there. Back at Pouchy's, Donnie's outside on the phone with Allison, and then Helena comes out, and she's just covered in blood, looking awesome, and she's got this knife in a bag, and she's like, I got us a refund. Delphine's still at Shay's, and she's still, like, grilling her, and Shay's like, I don't know anything you're talking about. And then Delphine starts, like, running a bath and pulls this, like, razor blade out of her shoe, and I'm like, oh, you're hardcore. Back at Allison and Donnie's garage, Helena's washing all the blood off her hands, and Donnie's just putting tons of money in their freezer. He's like, this is way more than the refund, and she's like, they're not gonna come back for it. Helena's on her way to go take a shower to get the rest of the blood off of her. She takes her little canister of babies, and she thanks Donnie for, like, helping save them, and it was so cute. Then Allison comes in, and she's like, oh my gosh, Donnie, what happened to your face? And he's like, well, it's whatever, but we also just came into a lot of money right now. Delphine's still at Shay's, and she's, like, sitting on the edge of the bath, and she's like, you know, I knew this chick. She tried to kill herself in a bathtub by slitting her wrists. She really should have slit her feet, too. And I'm like, you're gonna stage a suicide? That's awesome. Grace is on the street somewhere, and she gets her phone out, and she calls Casima, and she's like, I wanted to thank you for being so nice to me, but, I did a thing. Turns out Gracie's the freaking spy! She's like, they said I could be with Mark again, blah, 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 blah. Shut up, Gracie! Casima's like, oh, crap, I need to call Delphine. She calls her, and she's like, yeah, it wasn't Shay. And Delphine has this look like, oh, crap, I was really looking forward to killing your new girlfriend. So Sarah and Felix go with that guy to the address that was on the prisoner ID thing. Sarah's like, Felix, wait here, I'm gonna go inside. And the guy that drove them is just sitting in his taxi, and then who gets in the backseat? Ferdinand. That guy's not gonna live for very long. Ferdinand calls up Delphine, and he's like, I've been chasing Sarah Manning around London. Last I checked, she was locked up at Dyad. Delphine's like, just come back, we'll talk it out. Ferdinand gets out of the car, the camera pans over, and of course he's killed the guy in the front seat. Sarah goes inside the house of this Kendall person. She goes, like, room to room, and there's no one there. Then she sees, like, on the end table a picture of a lady and a baby, and behind her someone's sneaking up. It's this older woman who comes out with a knife and is like, I'm gonna cut your freaking spine. Sarah's like, whoa, I'm just looking for Kendall, and she's like, you got me. Sarah looked so puzzled at that. Then they see this shadowy figure walk past the window, and then the door opens, and it's Mrs. S. Mrs. S comes in, and she's like, Sarah, put the gun down. Then the older woman's like, Siobhan? And then they do that thing that every TV show does when they're just like, hello, mother. Sarah's like, what? Your mother? And she's like, yeah, she went to prison because she killed my husband. Her mom's like, okay, to be fair, your husband sucked. Then they're like, wait a minute, why did Duncan send us to you? Her mom's like, let me tell you a little story. So while her mother was in prison, Duncan came in and he was like doing tests on different prisoners, saying it was cancer research. So Duncan apparently was looking for, you know, the female and the male donor for Lita and Castor. But Siobhan's mom's like a mosaic, has DNA of male and female inside of her, so she's both. That's right. The clones were made from one person, both male, both female. What? Mrs. S has apparently been raising a clone of her mother, but like half of her mother. It bends the mind a little bit. So since her mother is essentially her own twin because she absorbed a twin in the womb, that's why Castor and Lita are technically siblings. While all that's getting revealed, Felix sees that someone is outside the apartment, so he sends a text to Sarah like, someone's here. Sarah gets the text and Mrs. S is like, yeah, I know, it's time to go. So she starts like turning on the gas on the stove and putting toast in a toaster and covering it because she's like, I'm gonna burn this place to the ground. And her mom's like, really? You're threatening to burn my house down again? Is that been a problem for Mrs. S in the past? But then Mrs. S is like, no, not just your house, and then pulls a gun on her mom/dad. Sarah's like, S, that's your mom. Mrs. S is like, so what? She's like, she's our original too. We need her to cure the Lita clones. Mrs. S is just like holding the gun on her, staring intently, and then credits. This freaking show! Dude, I don't even know if I covered all of it. I'm like scatterbrained right now, but if I forgot anything, drop a comment. If you just want to talk about it, let me know. Don't forget to do things, rate, comment, subscribe. One more episode to go. I'll catch you guys later. So until next time.